Yay, the kids are finally asleep.
So do you feel like...
Playing a game?
I've got a feeling a boss fight's coming up.
Ooh, I just got wrecked.
Headshot, baby.
Ooh, it's your turn to get the baby.
So are you up to the challenge?
Run, 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 run.
And we're dead.
That's when I realized I have no idea what I'm doing.
GG.
Welcome back to the Gamer Parents Podcast. This is episode 41. My name is Joanne and I'm joined by my wonderful husband and gamer partner in crime, Kevin.
Yes. If you're listening to this on Halloween, happy Halloween.
Yes, happy Halloween. And if it's your first time here, we're parents who game and gamers who parent. This week, we'll be giving a game review on Eville or Evil.
I like calling it Eville because then it sounds like it's like the name of the city or something.
Yes.
Which I don't think it actually explained that, but that's how I'm taking it.
Yeah, like Ville is part of like a village.
Yeah, because it's spelled, has like an extra L
Mm-hmm.
in there.
Yep.
So it kind of looks and sounds like evil, like evil.
Yeah.
I'm like hearing it weirdly. Anyways, yeah, so game review.
Game review in the back half of the episode. But before we jump into that, I'd like to start off by asking Kevin, how has your week been going in life and in gaming?
Yeah, so in life, this weekend was definitely a highlight. Just yesterday was your birthday. We got to celebrate, which was a lot of fun. And just you and I went out to a nice fancy dinner.
Yes, sushi.
And we got to leave the kids with my parents.
Yeah.
So it was just the two of us, which is just the way we like it. Especially for the place that we went. And another thing that was really cool about it was a while back at work, I had won it's like a challenge, or I guess like a competition, I would say, but among my team to like whoever could basically achieve the most for like a particular time period. And I ended up winning that competition. And so the reward was we got to take our spouse out to a dinner, and work would cover it. So this was kind of our chance to go do that, and figured that her birthday was coming up. And so it was a great way to spend that. And so we got to have an amazing dinner for Joanne's birthday. And then today, I guess the day after your birthday, we got to celebrate even more, and we went over to my parents' house and we all dressed up as DC heroes. So that was our family of 4, us 2, and then our 2 kids, my parents, and then my cousin who came by as well. We were all dressed up. We took tons of pictures.
Yep.
And just to break things down, I was Batman. Joanne was Batgirl. Dylan, our son, was Flash. Faith, our daughter, was Wonder Woman. And then my parents were Superman and Supergirl. And then my cousin was Aquaman. And so we had the whole lot with us.
Yeah, and I was the one in charge of assigning the costumes. I got them like way ahead of time. I think like in June or something, I started planning for my birthday costume party. So that was what this family had to put up with for the past 3 years, celebrating our birthdays in costumes. My birthday in costume, as well as Kevin's mom's birthday. Our birthdays are close.
Yeah, so. I mean, being close to Halloween, they like to dress up. And it's kind of been like a yearly tradition thing that we do something with a different theme. This year was my favorite because it was superheroes.
Yes.
I think that was the coolest. But yeah, we got some great pictures. Those are on our Discord. I think they're also on Instagram.
Yep.
And I will also make a point of sharing them on Twitter as well. Hopefully more people can see them. We also got a little crazy and started doing like this fake fight too. So we got like some pictures of us. Looks like we're fighting.
Not the girls though, just the guys.
Yeah, us guys, we were fighting. I like to say we were fighting over like who was the strongest. So I think Batman obviously won that one, but you know. But yeah, that's it on the life side. I think those are kind of the highlights this last week. But in gaming, you know, I know last week I said I was gonna give Deathloop one more try, and I did. And I think my complaints from last week were still true, where I felt like I didn't really know where the game was taking me or was wanting me to go. And, you know, I was still kind of trying to make my way through all of that. And then my game got like invaded by, what's her name? Juliana, I think. And this person really knew what they were doing. Like you could tell, like they had been playing this for a little while. And they came in, they found me like pretty quickly and was doing all kinds of weird, crazy stuff that I didn't know was even possible, and killed me pretty easily. And then I respawned. I was like, hey, well, whatever. Like I did some damage to her. Like maybe I'll be able to finish her off, and then she'll leave me alone, you know, and I can finish off the level. So I went. We encountered each other again, and then she killed me again. And then at that point, I was like, all right, yeah, I was already close to like being done with this game, so I'm just gonna stop it right here. And so I just basically rage quit. I didn't even finish that level or try to take Juliana again. So
I have a question. Was it like a PvE or PvP?
You know, that's a player controlled person that
so
basically gets into your game and then tries to kill Colt.
So they join as the protecting the loop part, and then you're breaking the loop. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so their job is to just ruin the game for everyone else. So, yep, that's what happened. I haven't uninstalled it or anything yet, but I don't think I'm going to get back to it. So, I mean, as soon as I need the space, it's probably going to be the first thing to go. So, unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to finish Deathloop. I just, don't like it enough.
That's funny.
Yeah. Otherwise, in gaming, I started playing this game called The Phantom Abyss, and it's on Game Pass. It was actually released last week, and it's still in early access, so it's not a completed game, but it is a first-person like temple runner. So you kind of phase into a procedurally generated temple. So like the map layout is different every time. And there's a whole bunch of traps like everywhere that you're trying to avoid. And since it's all procedurally generated, like no two temples are exactly the same. And it's first person and you're running through these trying to avoid the traps, and you get a whip that you can use to, I don't really understand the physics logics of this, but you can use the whip to like pull yourself to certain locations. So like you can use it to like bridge gaps, or kind of like jump along the wall a little bit, or to get over traps or get by traps. You can use the whip for that. So it's fun. It's very like Indiana Jones ish as far as the aesthetics and the temples and all the traps. And if you're one that doesn't really like having to watch out for traps or dodge things or avoid stuff from hitting you, that's basically all this game is. There's also at the end of each temple you get like a relic, and then like each time you play through that temple, like that's gone forever. Like you'll never get the same exact one again. So that part of it's kind of cool. Another thing that I really like that they did is that every time you do a run through a temple, you see the phantoms of a bunch of other players who have also done that same temple. And so you can like follow their ghosts. They kind of look like these ghostly player characters, and they're running through, and you get to see how they either make it past the traps, or they, maybe they get taken down by the traps. So then you can like, watch the people running ahead of you and be like, okay, I'm not going to go that way because that person just got squashed by trap, right? So, if you're smart, you'll kind of watch how other players either succeeded or not, and kind of follow along.
It really reminded me of like Squid Games almost, where like you start off with a lot of people, and then
so it tells you like on that temple like how many people have ran it. And so like at the very beginning everyone's still alive, so there's like 1,000 people, and then you go through like different tiers of the temple, and every time it's like, okay, now there's only 500 people left, because like half the people have died, and you try to make it to the end, and if you die then you have to basically restart a different temple from the very beginning.
Well, if not Squid Games, kind of like Fall Guys. So
Kind of, except it's not, you're not really competing against each other. Like technically everybody could win. You just make it to the end, and then everybody gets that relic or whatever.
just don't die.
Yeah, and you're not like competing with each other like live. Like you're basically seeing someone else's playthrough that may have been weeks before. Another thing that's really cool about it is like as you're falling, you can avoid fall damage by hitting I think it's like left control, but then your character will like kind of do like a roll. Or is that like a somersault? What do you call that?
Like backwards?
No, forward. So like if you're falling and you can like basically do a roll like as you hit the ground to like avoid taking damage. And because it's first person, it actually like the camera does this weird thing where it like does a full like loop as if you actually were doing a roll, which is like really weird. And then the last interesting thing about the game is that the whips that you use, you can collect different ones and they look a little bit different. And they all have like one benefit and one curse. There's like one good thing that happens to you if you use that whip, and then one like bad thing that happens to you. So you have to pick the ones carefully. And some of the curses are really bad, so you have to be careful with those. But anyways, that's kind of it for that game. The only other thing that I'm playing really is Marvel Snap still.
Oh, Snap.
Snap, yep. And I'm still liking it. I'm like constantly running out of missions or quests to do because I'm completing them before they come up. Like every few hours you get like another mission or something, but they're pretty easy to do. And I'm still getting a lot of new cards. That's slowed down a little bit just because like the tree or whatever that you go through, it kind of starts to slow down like at a certain point, and I know I hit that.
And yours is Marvel Snap, so it's Marvel Comics, right?
Yeah, so it's all Marvel heroes.
Okay.
Every card is a different hero, and they do different things, and you build different decks.
Yeah, just checking because we dress up as DC comic heroes.
Yeah, so none of the heroes we dressed up as are in here, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're from different universes.
Yeah. But yeah, kind of like I mentioned, it just feels a lot like Gwent. I don't think I really have anything different to say on that compared to last week, but yeah, I'm still playing that. But that's it as far as gaming, except for Eville, obviously, which we'll talk about more later. But what about you, Joanne? What's going on with you?
So for the live part, obviously it's mostly the same as you, with my birthday celebration and your mom's birthday celebration and our costume party today.
Oh yeah, all that exciting stuff.
Yes, and I also did attend one of the Halloween party for the kids at the kids gym with our son, where he dressed up as the little bad wolf and I dressed up as the big Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, I didn't get to go to that, but it looked pretty fun.
Yeah, it was our first time to go, and it was fun. You know, there was art stuff to do, and
a lot of people dressed up, right? Like it was pretty much like a kid's costume party.
Yeah, kids costume party, and parents, some chose to dress up and some didn't. So I think it's optional for the parents.
And you even got to go for free, right? Because you kind of won like some promotion.
Actually, it's not free regularly, but because we won some kind of draw on it, so we got to go for free.
Hey, free stuff is always better.
Yeah, like that dinner for birthday.
Yeah.
Tasted so much nicer.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, that's about the life side of things. As for the gaming part, obviously I've been playing more Eville than you have. While you're busy playing your other stuff, I played more Eville because I really like it. And I also did play Mario Party on our Nintendo Switch, but not the Mario Party like board game part. I played the other mini game called Mario-thon, which is like 5 mini games, like a marathon, but yeah, Mario-thon.
So, I mean, I always know like old school Mario Party, which is just like the board game type of games that you do on there. Like I didn't really know there's anything else until getting this one and finding out. So what's the difference?
The difference is it's like 5 mini games, but I don't think you get to pick them. Well, there's one that you get to pick 5 different ones.
It was basically the
And
same
then-
thing, but like
yeah.
without the rolling of dice and moving
Yeah,
like spaces and
you
and
just
coins and stars and everything. Like you're just doing mini games and competing that way.
yes. And
I think it's kind of more fun because it
yeah.
takes out the like luck aspect of what are you going to roll and which spot are you going to land and is it
Yeah.
going to help you or hurt you.
It's all skills.
I like that because I got the skills.
Yeah. And also the river survival mode. It's also in Mario Party where
Survival game?
Yeah, so you kind of like get on this raft or boat kind of thing, and then you get to pick which side you want to sit on. And then you have to hold the controllers like vertically, like as if you're gonna like use
Like
it as
like
oars.
a canoe or like a rowboat?
Kind of like a raft. It's like river rafting.
okay.
Yeah, almost. You get to pick whether you want to be in the front left, front right, or back left or back right. And then, so it finished in like 45 seconds. And in order to extend your time, you'll have to like play a mini game and win it to add time to it so that
you play
you get
mini
to
games while you're like rafting down the river.
No, so a balloon will pop up in the middle of the river. So you like run into it to enter into the mini game world, and then you play the mini game, and you play it as like a 4-player. So all 4 of you have to work together to
so
win
it's
the
like
mini
a
game.
4-player co-op.
Yes, it's a co-op mini game, and then if you win it, then you get to add time to your river run. That way you could explore more because there's like a lot of branches. I think like 5 branches altogether, and to reach the end you need to keep extending your time, and there are a lot of obstacles like rocks and flying fish. I forgot what it's called. But yeah, the main point is to keep extending your time because by default I think they give you only 45 seconds, but I may be wrong. I'm not sure how long. Yeah, but you just have to keep extending it, and that way you can make all the way up to the 5 branches. I only made it up till the 4th branch because the number of mini games significantly reduced, and in order to get them you have more obstacles to get through before you can pop the balloon and enter the mini game world. So I didn't get to extend my time towards the end of it.
Yeah, so that's one I never got to play that mode with you, but I don't ever remember like anything in Mario Party being like all 4 players are on the same team.
So that was fun. So there's a different part of the Mario Party that I was exploring.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
And aside from that, I also tried Scorn.
Okay.
It wasn't as horror as I expected it to be. I mean, there's like a lot of other horror games. It's just, what do you call it? Like the opposite of ASMR. Like if you have phobia of holes or slimy, icky stuff, then
Like
that's
just
not the game
grotesque?
for you. Yeah, just like grotesque looking stuff, then that's not the game for you. But I don't have any problem with those. So it wasn't as satisfying to me. And it is kind of like the game that doesn't guide you. You're just like thrown into the world and you're supposed to figure out how to get on through the rooms yourself. So what I did was I just
like
explored.
you can't advance until you figure out like each room.
I just have to explore each room and figure out what this button does and that button does.
Yeah.
It's very like puzzle filled, and there's no words, no clues, no nothing. I mean, it only lights up when you go near, like it shows that you can interact with it, but it doesn't tell you what it does. It's just like try and error kind of thing. So I did get through like the first couple rooms. Remember that one where I had to like do the puzzle of the egg and stuff like that? Yeah. But
and you found a friend.
I found a friend only to use him and then ditch him.
Oh, he's gone already?
He's gone, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I found that
just
friend
starting to like him.
just because I need to unlock a room and I needed 2 people to unlock that room. So
okay.
I know. So moving on to
so
the next
are you gonna
room.
keep playing it?
Oh
or are you
yeah,
done?
I want to keep playing it because of the puzzle part of it. Nothing. I haven't like fought anything yet.
That's what I was gonna ask you because I thought like in the
It
trailer
will,
it looked like there was a little bit of like
there
combat.
will be a bit of combat later, but I haven't reached there yet. I only played it once so far, and that took me like the whole hour
Okay, wow.
Plus, you can't fall off edges or anything like ledges and stuff like that. Like I saw, like there was a room down below. I wanted to jump down to get to it, but it won't
Or
let
just
me.
wouldn't let you. And you hate it like when the physics of the game just like don't let you do something
Yeah,
that you should be able to do,
I know
like climb over a rock,
exactly.
stuff like that.
Yeah. So yeah, but they did really work hard to make it like icky for a lot of people, like looking at very deformed humans and stuff like that. So, and that doesn't bother
The
me.
stuff of
So.
nightmares.
Yeah, not really. But yeah, I think most people would be grossed out by it. But it's not horror. I actually think your BioShock game that you talk about before seemed more horrifying. Not the last one that you talk about. Not
Yeah,
BioShock
well, this one just like
Infinite.
looks weird and creepy.
Yeah, this is just
but
like
it doesn't like. Other than that, it doesn't like try to scare you, right? Like,
no, not to me. I think it just looks like you're inside of someone's intestines.
well, shall we jump into Game Pass games?
Sure, and there's not many this past week, and they're not even released on my birthday.
Yeah, it was a very light week for Game Pass games.
I know,
this last
everyone's
week.
busy.
Kind of had like a little bit of a dry spell. Then we had a couple the other day, and like that was pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. So new games on Game Pass this past week is Frog Detective, the entire mystery. Available on PC. Gunfire Reborn on console, PC, and cloud, and Signalis on console, PC, and cloud. Now, I did check out the Frog Detective, the entire
you did?
mystery. Well, just check out the trailer.
What'd you think?
I didn't download it because I don't know. It's very cartoony, but the whole mystery part kind of like intrigues me. So I want to do Scorn first. I'm kind of like in that grotesque kind of puzzles right now, so I'm not gonna switch to a cartoony puzzle at
Okay, gotcha.
the
Very
moment.
different.
Yeah.
Games. I did check out Gunfire Reborn. I don't know if you looked at that one, but it's like a co-op roguelite shooter.
Oh, very cute.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess I didn't necessarily think of it that way, but yeah, it looked pretty interesting to me. I liked it, especially it's something we could play together.
Mm-hmm. Especially it's co-op. The other one that I talked about earlier, that Frog Detective thing, was a single player thing, no co-op.
Yeah, this one's like a kind of first person, very cartoony looking.
No, it looked like Puss in Boots, one of them.
Oh yeah, kind of. But it looked kind of cool. I don't know. I like
it
the
does look
roguelite aspect of it. Like I'm not sure exactly what they do with that, but they're definitely interested in checking it out.
Definitely. Yep. All right.
All right, I guess it's back to me for new games. We do have at least some new games out this last week. We have Garbage Pail Kids, Mad Mike, and The Quest for Stale Gum. On PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. We have Monster Train coming to iOS.
Ooh.
We have Sackboy: A Big Adventure on PC. Saturnalia on all consoles and PC. We have Signalis on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Star Ocean: The Divine Force on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Bayonetta 3 coming to Switch. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Last Days of Lazarus on Xbox Series X and S. Resident Evil Reverse on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And last but not least, Resident Evil Village is coming to Switch and Mac. Which, finally, that game came out last year sometime. On there, though, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. In the past, I've always been a big Call of Duty player. And, when Warzone came out, I was in Warzone for a while. I've kind of taken a break, so I have not dived back into this new Call of Duty just yet. It did just come out yesterday. Although, I was would be surprised if I don't pick that one up at some point, especially now that like Call of Duty games aren't going to be dropping every year. So I feel like, and this makes me more likely to get each one, right? Because it's not like, oh, I'll just wait till the next one. If I don't get it right away, right? It's not really a point if you're already close to the next one's coming out. So yeah, I think this will probably be the only one we get for about 2 years. So it'll most likely be worth getting, and the reviews of it are really good so far. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. Like Warzone 2 is supposed to be kind of on the back of this one, I think coming out in November. So it'll be interesting to see how that one goes. If that's a hit too and looks good, I'll probably get this one along with it.
I'm excited to see how the Resident Evil one looks. The reverse.
Yeah, I checked that one out. That one was notice it only came out to PS4, Xbox One, and PC. It's not current generation consoles, but it's like an online exclusive multiplayer where you get to play as Resident Evil characters. So it's kind of like, I don't know if you're fighting each other, it seemed like. So it's not, I don't think it's your traditional Resident Evil, although I'm not the resident expert for Resident Evil. But yeah, that's it for new game releases. All right, shall we get into Eville in our game review?
Yes, please.
Because we have a lot to talk about with this game. So Eville, I guess the game, I will go ahead and I guess break it down a little bit. It kind of reminded me right off the bat of similar game structure as like Among Us or Project Winter or even Secret Neighbor.
No, don't compare it.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the idea behind it is the same, right? Where everybody joins the game, and there are one or two, I don't know, imposters or villains, basically that want to take out the rest of the group, and they don't want to be discovered.
Yeah.
Right. So the imposters of Among Us, I forget what they called them in Project Winter, or the the neighbors in Secret Neighbor.
Well, basically, to put it in a sentence, like whether you're one of the good guys or the bad guys, no one knows but you. So you have to trick and convince others to stay alive.
Yes, yeah, especially if you're one of the conspirators, is what they call them. That's basically the imposters, if you're familiar with the Among Us terms. And there's different roles, right?
Yeah.
So there's conspirator roles, and then there's like civilian.
The villagers.
Okay, that would call them the villager roles, right? So you can be like a citizen or a guard or a detective or a ghost whisperer or a seer, right? All these different roles, mayor, trapper, and all of them that you can be, right? And each role can do different things. You have different abilities, different passives, and some of them kind of seemed better than others or more useful than others. And you're trying to figure out what other people's roles are. And generally, you can ask other people, because there's also proximity chat in the game. So if somebody's nearby you, you can just talk to them and they could talk back to you. For the most part, everybody seemed to have mics, that it wasn't really a problem. And so you're trying to figure out what roles other people are. And if you can, trying to get them to prove that they're that role somehow, right? And if they can't, that's suspicious. And if they can, then maybe you can cross them off your list as far as who's not a conspirator. And if you're the conspirator, you want to try and have a story ready because obviously if you're the thief, which I think is one of the conspirators, you don't want to tell everybody, oh, I'm a thief. Then I'm like, all right, well, we're gonna off with you, we're gonna get rid of you because you're a conspirator. So that's kind of how all the different roles are and how the game is set up. And then it starts off and it's daytime, and each game will go through periods of day and night. And during the day, everyone is completing quests. So there's different NPCs around the town, and they'll give you quests. You go and complete. It's like, oh, pick this up and bring it back to them or something. It's like super simple quest stuff. Most of them take like a minute or less. to do, and you get gold, and then with the gold you can buy stuff, different items that help you either protect yourself if you're a villager, or help you take out more of the villagers if you're a conspirator, right? So you can get things like barricades or a key so you can lock your door to your house. Everybody has their own house, things like that for the villagers to help protect themselves. You can also make potions and stuff, potions to poison people, to put them to sleep so that they can't wake up at night, or even a potion of protection to make it so you can't be killed at night.
Yeah.
It only works for one night, obviously.
Mm-hmm. So basically it's about just trying to prove your innocence and stay alive till the end of the game. And then you get to vote when someone gets framed or blamed.
So every time a body is reported, everybody will basically gather in the center of town, and everybody can vote on someone that they think is guilty of it. So that's kind of when everybody is together. Because the chat is proximity. If you're not around people, you can't hear what they're saying. So this is kind of the stage where everybody can hear everybody.
If they come to the center of the town.
Yeah, which for the most part, everybody does. Because you hear the bells will ring and everyone will make their way there. And then everyone will try to accuse other people or try to prove their innocence. And whoever gets the most votes of who they think is guilty, they get put into a cage. And then everyone moves either to a blue spot or a red spot, basically for innocent or guilty. So if you think the person's guilty, you stand on the red area. If you think they're innocent, you stand in the blue area. And if they get more red votes than blue votes, then they get burned.
Yes.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Salem witch trials or something.
Yes, it does.
You don't necessarily know unless you sometimes you do know, but sometimes it's we were pretty sure this is a conspirator. And then, you burn them, and then you might find out later that they weren't, or you might confirm later that they are.
Yeah.
So that part feels like a lot of these other games, like Among Us kind of style. But the art style is really cool. Kind of almost reminds me of WoW in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's because it's a lot of the same, almost time era.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Mm-hmm. But the difference between it and Among Us is that each villager has a different role, and each role has a different ability. So that kind of helps in
identifying who's the conspirator or not.
Yes, the detective.
Because everybody's different.
When we were both the detective, we could have worked together.
Yeah, the detectives are good at figuring out what roles people are.
Yeah.
Takes some time, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's just amazing. More fun. I mean, I know there's scientist role.
Yeah, there are some roles in Among Us, but not everybody got a role.
Yeah.
And there was only a few.
Yeah, and it's also not really helpful to determine the conspirator in Among Us or the imposter. But in this one, it's kind of more useful.
Yeah, in Among Us, it seemed to be solely around did you see somebody kill somebody else, right? Usually you would never get caught in Among Us for the most part unless somebody saw you do a kill, right? That was probably the 80% of the time that's how you're getting caught, is because somebody visually sees you and then convinces everybody else. But in this one, most of the kills happen at night when everyone's sleeping, so you can't. It's really hard to get caught. By doing that. So a lot of it kind of comes down to it seems like it was more process of elimination.
Yeah.
It's you've proved certain people are certain roles, except this person or something, and you're more suspicious of them. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe we haven't played enough to get into the strategy.
They call
the thought
it
process.
They call it the multiplayer social deduction games.
Yeah, I guess deduction, probably a good way of
kind of sums it up.
I had
a few interesting games during my run with Eville.
Oh, yeah, go on.
So once I was a conspirator, and I kind of tell people that I was the ghost whisperer, and the ghost whisperer has the ability to like find bodies with her skill and stuff like that. But because I was with the killer the night before, another killer, a fellow killer, so I knew which person died.
So you knew because you were there.
Yes. So when they asked me to like prove my ability that I'm a ghost whisperer, I was like, okay, I know it's leading me here, and then I walked to the house where I was the night before and said, "There's the body! Oh my gosh!" Because you're supposed to use your mics to kind of make people believe you. So it's all through your talking and everything.
Yeah, that's why that's hard for me because I'm probably not as convincing. Like if it's an Among Us and you just all type,
yeah,
right? I think I can kind of convince people a little better.
Yeah, so I'll be like, oh my gosh, that's the body. So I go and report it, and then they said like, okay, she's safe. She just proved it. So everyone would be like, whoa, she is truly the ghost whisperer.
So you convinced people with this Oscar-worthy performance as a conspirator, tricking everybody into thinking that you were a ghost whisperer.
Yeah.
And so you had everybody off your trail, right?
Yeah.
They did not see that coming.
They did not see that coming. And then towards the end, I killed the last person. And I mean, not the last person, like just to get us to win. So that was fun.
Oh.
I think it's easier to lie as a ghost whisperer than a citizen because I can't build barricades.
Yeah, that was my problem. Like, I didn't know a lot of the villager roles, and I kept getting conspirator like every single time. So I'd be like, "Oh, what's your role?" And I'm not gonna say I'm a conspirator. They're like, "Oh, I'm a citizen." They're like, "Okay, build me a barricade to prove it." I'd be like, "Oh crap!" Yeah, I don't. Yeah, so like I would end up getting outed because like either I couldn't do something that they asked me to do, and then that was kind of a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
So that part of the game wasn't very fun to me until I started to figure things out.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is dumb. Like people, like I kept getting the conspirator, which is horrible if you're a beginning player.
Yeah.
You don't know enough about the game to convince people that you're not a conspirator.
I agree.
Yeah, but once I kind of started to figure that out, it was a lot easier.
Yeah.
I feel like I still don't know everything about the game, but I kind of know enough to like finagle my way through each one.
So I played as the seer once, I played as the thief, I played as the barbarian a lot, I played as the ghost whisperer, I played as a medic, played as a citizen, I played as a mayor.
Yeah, you've played as more than me for sure.
I mean, like I keep getting different ones too.
Yeah, and there's still some that I haven't even played yet.
Oh, detective! I was a detective too.
I liked the detective. I liked the smuggler. I think was my favorite.
Yeah, I haven't got the smuggler yet. And then there's like 3 levels of difficulty. So there's easy, there's normal, and there's advanced. And I've played all 3, and I realized that there are parts of the map that are unlocked.
Yep, so the map gets bigger with the harder difficulty. Typically, I would assume the players are also more experienced in the higher difficulties.
And also the number of roles
increases. Yeah, so there's just more to keep track of, more to keep in mind, more to understand and try to learn. There's basically it's a more complicated game when you get to normal and advanced compared to easy.
Yeah, and then the only thing I haven't played enough of is as a dead person because I was busy killing people.
Yeah, because you're usually alive or you're the one killing people.
Yes. But I know that after you die, you still get to
you can still play. So kind of like in Among Us, you get to be a ghost.
Yeah, and some of them get to protect, even like wake people up.
Yeah, so I did get to play as the ghost for a few games, so I'll go ahead and explain that.
Because you keep dying?
Yeah, well, there was one game I died like really early on. It was like, oh, we think it's you because you're not talking very much. I'm like, I'm talking. What are you talking about? And then they killed me anyways, and then so I got to be ghost for the rest of that game.
That was funny though.
So what the ghosts can do, they have their own quests.
Yeah.
Actually, so they go and do their quests, and you get like a different currency. You don't use gold anymore, obviously. No use to them. And then with the currency that you do get for doing these quests, like in the afterworld or whatever, you can buy like powers, because when you first become a ghost, you don't have any abilities or anything. But when you do the quests, you can then buy abilities that you can use to either help the villagers or the conspirators, I guess, depending on who you were before you died. So I didn't get to do a whole lot of that. The ones that I did get to see, like there's one power that lets you like steal gold from somebody. Like if there's someone that you don't like or want to take down, you can go like steal gold from them. And then you can actually see it happening like in the real world. So like someone might think that the thief like took money from them or something when it was actually like the ghost doing something. I think another ability that they could get is to like create like a safe zone, to, like people can't be killed. So like if you know who the conspirator is and it looks like they're gonna go after somebody, you can like create a safe zone to kind of mess them up. So I think there's other abilities too that you could buy as a ghost, but those are kind of the only ones that I saw. But it kept it more interesting for people who had died. Just so like a lot of people will just want to leave the game after they died, but at least this way there's still stuff you can do.
Yeah.
You still have a little bit of fun.
True. Sometimes I just stay back when I die just to see who the conspirators are.
Yeah, because you're dying to know who it was, unless you know because they killed you, but
yeah,
might not always see. But yeah, that's kind of basically, I think we covered everything, right?
I think so.
All right, let's get into our ratings.
Okay.
Joanne, what did you think about this game's convenience?
Oh my goodness. Because it's multiplayer, I don't think you could like pause it.
You definitely cannot pause it.
Yeah. So when you join a game, you have to commit to that game.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. But you don't have to do anything. You could just stand in your house, right? If you need to go AFK and just wait till night comes.
That actually might be a decent strategy because
if you need to do something.
I feel like if you just like AFK in your house, like people aren't going to see you running around like you would have like no drawing, like zero attention to yourself.
Yeah,
I guess
but
they'd
then you're not
eventually like find you, but
I know, but you're also not like what do you call it, completing the quest to help your faction.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you probably wouldn't win the game that way, but like my thing is like I go out and be like, "Hey, good morning, everybody," and then like execute him.
I do. Yeah.
So what do you rate it? 1 through 10. Convenience.
I would give it a convenience level of 6 because sometimes the game can take really long.
6. Okay. Yeah. I think it's actually below average in terms of convenience because I know, once you're kind of in a game, they take a while to finish. So that doesn't really break it up very well. Yeah. There's not really like the nighttime is what, like 30, 45 seconds. Like, if you're a villager and you're asleep, that's basically the longest break that you have.
Yeah.
Like go do something really quick if you want to, or obviously it's online multiplayer. There's no pausing or anything like that. It doesn't really seem to like penalize you for like leaving a game. Like if you do
unless you're hosting it.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know what that does. Maybe
it says there like when I want to leave a session, it says if you're hosting it, you have like a penalty time before you can host another.
So maybe don't host games if you think you might need to leave at any point, because the games can be a little bit long, especially depending on how many players you have going into it, because it just takes longer to get through the whole thing.
Yeah, even waiting at a lobby for...
Yeah, even just waiting for a game to start and waiting for the lobby to fill up takes a little while too. So like, once you kind of go through all of that, you don't want to have to go through it again by leaving a game. So yeah, on convenience, I'm giving it a 4.
Okay, fair point.
Yep. Next one is communication. What did you think?
Oh my gosh. Like, I feel like almost every lobby we go to, everyone wants you to have a mic. Like,
oh yeah, like a lot of the lobbies will say like mic required.
Yeah.
And then obviously everyone's like, hey, you got a mic? Because you want people to talk. Because they're not going to give themselves away if they're not talking. Yeah,
so that shows how important communication is. So I would give it 8.
8. Okay.
And also like communication with each other. Like after we're done with the game, I feel like I talk about it to you, just excited to share how I killed you or trick others.
Yeah, after each night of us playing this, like we definitely will be talking about like, oh, I did this, and then this person did that, and then basically explaining how our game went.
Yeah.
Or something that like one of us didn't see.
Especially it's so satisfying when you get to trick everyone. That's me.
Yeah, so I think the communication high. And I feel like you're kind of always communicating in the game, like to other people, and not so much that like to each other, which I would. That's one thing I would like it to be more communication between just us. But when there's just so many people, it's a little bit hard, but still a little bit. So I'm giving it a communication of 9.
Okay, close enough.
Next category is story. What do you have for that?
I'm gonna say like the story is based on who you play with, not trying to be like corny.
I mean, yeah,
or
there
cheesy.
were
It's-
some guys who were like, I mean, I feel like I shouldn't dare like try to reenact, but like they would really get into their characters, right? And like if they were the mayor,
yeah,
they would, like basically try to act like a mayor would, right? And like tell their subjects what to do,
yeah.
or if
I like
somebody got like framed and like put in jail, they'd be like, "No, you have the wrong person."
Yeah.
They'd even like throw an accent in there,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't know, make it seem more believable. It kind of just made it funny, but
I know
yeah.
it makes it fun. So I found it like interesting. I've played with a few groups or lobbies that I enjoyed playing with. So yeah, I think the story is depending on who you play it with.
Yeah, if you really like role playing games, like you might want to check this one out.
Yeah.
So, what did you think? What's your rating?
I'm gonna give it a 7
Okay.
because it's all dependent, you know.
Yeah, I also gave it a 7 because I mean, I like you probably remember how I gave like the Among Us story was like.
Yeah.
Like you kind of make your own. It's not like there's a story that developers have written into it, but it's kind of like, hey, here's all of the villagers and your professions and like what you do. Like now you live it out. You get to decide, what happens, who lives, who dies, who does what.
And the best part is like, like if you play one game and then someone is such an efficient trapper, and then you play another game and someone barely drops any trap at all, so the story ends up like different.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? Next
category is repeatability. How do you feel about that?
I'd say it's on the higher side. I mean, I think just like Among Us, I've been playing forever. I think I could play this game for a pretty long time too. So I'll give it a repeatability of 8.
8.
Plus, I really like the graphics, that whole WoW, like World of Warcraft, like zoom in.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of tavern.
Yeah, and I don't think we explained it is third person point of view, not first person, which I kind of like for this better because it lets you like see a little more, a little
around
better.
You. Yeah,
a little better visibility. So I'm giving it a repeatability of 9.
Okay.
So not too far off from you. And that is just because every game is going to feel different. Like, I mean, we've been playing it for most nights for like the last 2 weeks, and I still haven't gotten every single role out there. There's a few that I haven't even had a chance to play yet.
That's true. I think
so. I feel like it's like you're not going to get the same role every single time you play.
I know.
It's going to feel like it. You're playing like as a different character pretty much every time.
Yeah.
Plus you could either be the conspirators or on the villager side, and both of those feel very different from each other as well. So like it doesn't really get boring that quick, and plus every game is just different because you don't know what's going to happen. And for the most part, every game you play with different people who are going to behave differently, do different things, say different things. So it makes every game feel a little bit different. So I think repeatability is very high for this one.
Yep.
Last category, Joanne, is fun.
Oh, I'm having fun with this. I'm giving it 8.
8 on the fun scale. Okay. I gave it a 5 for fun. And I'm just average.
Why?
I mean, I think it does better in some of the other categories. It's a little bit slow for me. Like there's certain like spikes of like, fun and excitement that I get out of it. Like if I end up like if you win a match, or like if you are a conspirator and you get like a kill on a villager or something like that, but it's not like definitely not the most fun I've ever had for the game.
Okay, maybe to each his own then.
Yeah, I mean it's still fun. I'm still enjoying it,
Yeah,
But
you like
I-
fast-paced games too. I mean, like more like all the high adrenaline one, and I like more laid-back games. And this one is like kind of like more laid-back to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this one is definitely kind of more laid back, but I kind of like the more fun, aggressive,
Yeah, like the
chaotic
temple run
games.
thing that you do. So stressful.
Yeah, like I want to constantly be moving, doing something.
Or the spider hack game that you did.
Yeah, spider hack.
And
Oh,
that's all
yes.
stressful to me. Too fast.
Yeah, I like the constant part of it. So, anyways, that's it for our 5 categories. Let's check out the totals.
Mm-hmm.
My total rating came out to be a 34 out of
Okay.
50,
Okay.
and yours is a 37 out of 50.
That's
So,
pretty good.
still,
Anything
those are
above
pretty
3 is
decent
good.
scores. Anything above 30, I consider like pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I said 3, huh? 30, yeah.
Yeah, anything above 3 just
3.
means
I was
it's
thinking
not
like 3
complete trash.
stars out of 5.
Yeah. So I'm not that surprised you gave it a little bit higher total rating than me.
Mm-hmm.
I think you like it a little bit more, but I'm down to play this one a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's fun. I'm having an okay time with it.
Yeah, I like playing it, especially with you. Because it's like sometimes I don't even know you and you're the killer and vice versa.
Yeah.
Or sometimes we work together like when we're detectives,
Yeah, that was a fun one. I was totally just trusting you, and I was assuming you weren't fooling me the whole time.
We streamed this, didn't we, last week?
Yes, we did. That's a good point. We did stream this last week, so that video is on our YouTube channel,
Yeah.
the Gamer Parents Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And the really cool part about that was we were actually dressed up in costume.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to see us as Batman and Little Red Riding Hood,
Big Red Riding Hood.
or Big Red Riding Hood, you can on the YouTube channel. You're going to see us in costume playing this game, Eville.
Yes.
Where else could people check us out?
You could also find us on our Instagram account at gamer_parents_podcast.
Or over on Twitter at twitter.com/gamerparentspod. Best place to chat with us would be the Discord channel. The link would be in the podcast episode description or in the YouTube video description if you're listening over there.
Yep.
And wherever you're checking us out, we would really appreciate a like, follow, subscribe, whatever it is, wherever it is.
Yes, please.
That is all that we have for you this time,
We hope you enjoy it.
and we will catch you in the next one.
Bye.